CTV's political commentator Scott Reid now with more on Carney's visit. Good morning to you, Scott. So what are you watching for as Carney visits Brussels and The Hague?
Well, we all know that the NATO Summit, as we just teased there, is going to place a lot of focus around the 5% mark and how it's broken down. There's, 1.5 of that percent, talking many billions, is going to be dedicated to defense infrastructure. That mark may not be as hard for Canada to get to as we might think, given our increased investments and the spending we do already on defense infrastructure and plan to do. But to me, actually, what I'm going to be watching is today. I'm watching to see this defense and security partnership and pact with the EU. What are the details of it? How sweeping is it? And also wondering if we'll get a hint as to what else it might foretell. How is the Prime Minister trying to pursue deeper relations with Europe? It's a massive market. And as we struggle with these talks with the United States, either as leverage in those talks or as an alternative to those talks for our producers and for our employees, will we be trying to finish up the free trade agreement with Europe? Will we be trying to advance it in some way? So I've got my eyes peeled on that big 700, 800 million block of people over there across the pond.
And will we know when Carney departs whether or not progress has been made, if there's something concrete to point to?
I think we will have hints. I think we'll definitely have this defense and security partnership, so we'll know some details about that. But they're not going to just drop that. They're going to drop it, Marcia, and they're going to tell us what it means and what the context is. So is this step one or a further step down a path of us potentially working even more closely, integrating more thoroughly with Europe? I think we'll be looking for those kinds of hints, and they'll get asked explicitly about the state of trade talks. They'll get asked explicitly about whether those are being expedited. I mean, look, people are going to ask questions about Canada actually seeking to become a member of the EU, which, is a big deal, when you think about how it's constructed and the euro and currency issues. But still, that talk doesn't seem so crazy all of a sudden. So I think we're definitely going to get some hints and some clues, and we'll be able to conclude from that.
Right, and certainly when the agenda was put out for this NATO meeting, the U.S. had not yet struck Iran.
Yeah.
So now that kind of changes things. Obviously, that's going to be top of mind. I wanted to get a final thought from you this morning on how Canada would come up with the messaging, and was it delicate in the statement that they put out yesterday and we're continuing to hear today about supporting the U.S. and condemning Iran's nuclear ambitions? Would that be challenging for the PMO to walk, a fine line on this and not sounding like Canada wanted to see a wider war?
Yeah, of course it is. An extraordinarily delicate balancing act, because more than one thing is happening here, and there's more than one consideration that gets poured into that statement. So on the one hand, of course, there's the direct issue itself, and whether you believe that if the United States pursues regime change, that's going to widen the scope of this and turn this into a regional conflict and make things worse. So you hear the government saying, let's really try to double down on diplomatic remedies. Obviously, the government is going to fall in with just about everybody else in the Western world and say, if there is an opportunity to halt definitively Iran's march toward a nuclear program, by all means, then we want to take that opportunity. We want to do everything possible to further that. But there's a subtext to all of this, as I think you're getting at, which is that we're in delicate trade discussions. And you can't dare say anything in a statement, even about a topic as sensitive and significant as this Iran-Israel war. You can't say anything that might alienate the President of the United States and then jeopardize those talks. He flies off the handle so easily with so little provocation. Might he take offense at the slightest syllable? And all of a sudden it's like, you know what? You're going to the bottom of the pile when it comes to trade negotiations and renegotiations. So there's a lot that goes into constructing a statement like that. And I would note that it took a number of hours before the Prime Minister actually issued it. I don't think that was indeliberate. I don't think that was indecisiveness. I think they wanted to wait and see how things landed and see what the reaction immediately of Iran was, see kind of where other allies were, try to get a measure of the landscape.
CTV's political commentator Scott Reid for us this morning. Scott, thank you so much.